I've been doing retail. We started with libraries, then we did shops. Now we're going into general retail. And I was going to do this video was scheduled to air Christmas week, but I want to do something Christmas week. So this is going to air the week after Christmas because I want to do something Christmas week. So these are Cozy Mystery Retail. And we'll see how far we get. And if it gets too long, then we're going to save Cozy Mystery Retail food for next week. Because we got 2 piles here. And I hope I didn't mix up my 2 piles. Welcome to the D. Louise book series. I'm Christine K-R-S-T-I-N-A. This is where I read books, talk about books, no special effects, no theme music, none of that fancy smanchy stuff laying around here. And I got my co-host for 5 seconds. And I've got a really bad runny nose. Give me. Shoot. Sorry. And I dropped my glasses. See? No special editing here. So, Cozy Mystery Retail. If you have not seen my review of this book, please go check out my review of this book earlier month. I've been abandoned. Rest Ye Murdered Gentlemen. I just did this book the other day, so please go check it out. Mary Wilkinson owns a Christmas antique, a knick-knack shop, but she also deals in antique books, first editions. As the owner of Mrs. Claus Treasure, Mary Wilkinson knows how to decorate homes for the holidays. That's why she thinks her float in the semi-annual Santa Claus Parade is a shoo-in for Best in Show. But when the tractor pulling Mary's float is sabotaged, she has to face facts. There's a Scrooge in Christmas. Mary isn't ready to point fingers, especially when a journalist in town writing a puff piece about Rudolph's Christmas spirit. But when she stumbles upon the reporter's body on a late-night dog walk and police suspect he was poisoned by a gingerbread cookie crafted by her best friend Vicky, Vicky becomes the prime suspect throughout the whole book. So please go check out my review of this to find out additional details. And hold on a second. Alright. I'm going to get ready to read this, so check out my review. It probably aired a couple days ago. October in Cascade Springs means tourists are pouring in for the annual Food and Wine Festival. Oops, sorry, it slipped in. Daisy hopes to draw those crowds to the store. She asked Violet and the local writing group, the Red Inkers, to give a reading of the words of Edgar Allan Poe in the shop's back garden to entertain the revelers. Everyone agrees. Yet their enthusiasm is soon extinguished and Violet discovers one of the writers dead during the event. After the shop magically tells Violet she'll need to rely on Poe's work to solve the murder, she enlists the help of her trusty tuxedo cat, Emerson, and the shop's crow, Faulkner. But they must act fast before someone else heart beats nevermore. So check out my video for this. Cat Got Your Killer, Sophie Ryan. These are so cute. Summer is around the corner and Sarah is making sure the store is stocked and ready for tourists. But while the weather's heating up, Sarah gets involved in a case that is decidedly cold when a man who linked to drowning years ago is found dead himself on the same stretch of beach. Some of Sarah's friends from the store knew the recent victim and the young woman who drowned in the past very well and are concerned they could be dragged into the case. It's beginning to look like an innocent man may be in prison, and the new drowning might in fact be the work of a killer who struck again. Between Charlotte's Angels, the group of senior citizen private detectives that operates out of the store, and Elvis's ability to sniff out trouble, Sarah won't like a second chance at catching this perpetrator pass by. This cake. That's a food. That's a food. Cat Eyewitness. Trinity Ashford, owner of the Tail Wagon Per Daycare and store starts her morning with coffee delivery from a kindly elderly man. But everything changes when his handsome son shows up with plans to disrupt her routine. When the elderly man is found murdered, Trinity is convinced the son is the killer and enlists the help of the old man's cat Moses as her unlikely witness. Moses, who despises the son's cologne, provides a critical clue. The same scent lingering over the crime scene. Despite skepticism from everyone around her, Trinity is determined to prove the cat's keen sense of smell can solve the case. Cynthia Hickey. They should have put this in black, right? Food. Maddie Day. Mac McKenzie owns a bike shop. But this is just the one I pulled off. And I love her bird. I love her bird that talks. Everyone loves a festival, though Mac has a few concerns about the spring equinox event organized by the new Chamber of Commerce director Wagner Levy. After all, March weather is unpredictable. Still, there's plenty to enjoy between flower-shaped candies at Salty's Taffy, spring rolls at the Rusty Anchor, and a parade of decorated bicycles. But the festivities soon take a stormy turn. Mac glimpses conflict between Wagner and the other locals during the festival, but it's a shock when he's found dead in the book nook, pinned beneath the top of bookshelf. It's an irresistible case for Mac's book group. She and the rest of the Cozy Capers will have to use all of their sleuthing skills to bring the killer's story to end. And I forgot to mention, this is like If Then 93-4, around there. If you have not seen my videos for these, please go check out my videos for these. Angelica Reseda. I had a bunch of notes for this, and what's if Trisha owns Haven't Got a Clue bookshop. Angelica, her sister, owns the rest of the town, and she owns it under a phony name, Nigella Reseda. And it's Angelica spelled backwards. And Trisha spelled backwards. And it's a really good book series, and I'm enjoying the heck of it. Please check out my reviews for these. Chapter and Hearse is one of the middle ones. I just picked it up. Trisha's sister, Angelica, considers herself to be the next celebrity chef. To celebrate her first cookbook, Angelica hosts a launch party, but sadly the only guest is an oversized cutout of herself. Worse than the lack of fans is a nearby gas explosion that injures her boyfriend, Bob Kelly, the head of the Chamber of Commerce. Trisha's never been a fan of Bob, but when she reads that Bob is being tight-lipped about the accident and how it killed the owner of the town's history bookstore, it's time to take action as incriminating details emerge. Trisha gets wrapped up in a murder that proves to be as spine-tingling as the books on her shelf. Bewitched and Betrothed. Juliet Blackwell. When Lily Ivy stumbles upon the uniform of a former prisoner from Alcatraz, and SFPD Inspector Carlos Romero's cousin is kidnapped, Lily suspects something dangerous has been unleashed on the ghost-ridden island of Alcatraz. She'll have to sleuth out the culprit when she's not busy entertaining her visiting relatives and resolving romantic conflicts as her wedding date approaches. Could recent omens be pointing to the magical threat in her adopted city? If so, she'll have to line up her allies to change the fate of the Bay Area. Witch Trail, Kate Cundy. The Full Moon Crystal Shop in North Harbor, Connecticut offers healing stones for all sorts of ailments. Unfortunately, there's nothing among the gems that can help owner Violet Mooney learn how to wield the magic she inherited from both sides of her family. The legendary Ravenstar and Moonstone clans. As if being an apprentice witch weren't difficult enough, Violet's tutors are her estranged mother Fiona and a sister she never knew named Zoe, and a familiar in the form of a black cat, Xander. Between learning spells, Violet is investigated by the Magical Council. A reporter out to debunk spiritualists was denied her soul imprisoned in a bottle. In Violet's shop, she can't prove she didn't do it. Meanwhile, her non-magical life has become complicated when one of her crystal shop customers, Nicole St. James, goes missing and turns up dead. The hex marks the spot. A lot of these. Oh, I did this. All right. Looking for charming stock for the store, Maggie accompanies her boss and favorite witch, Felicity Dowd, to the countywide craft bazaar. Felicity falls hard for a beautiful armoire intricately carved by an Amish craftsman. Maggie can't help noticing that though his clothes may be plain, he himself is more handsome than a man sporting a jawline only beard has any right to be, and he seemed pretty aware that the ladies love his furniture. But when the hunky craftsman turns up dead with a strange hex symbol etched near his corpse, Maggie wonders if the craft involved is the witchy kind, because Maggie knows that dead men could have well been oversexed, but the strong suspicion that he was overhexed. Cloche and Dagger, a hat shop mystery. Jen McKinley. I love this woman. Not only is Scarlett Parker's love life in the loo, as her British cousin Vivian Tremont would say, it's also gone viral with embarrassing videos. So when Viv suggests Scarlett leave Florida to lay low in London, she hops on the next plane across the pond. Viv is the proprietor of Mim's Whims, a ladies' hatch up on Portobello Road, bequeathed to both cousins by their beloved grandmother, and she wants Scarlett to finally join her in the millinery business. But a few surprises await Scarlett in London. First, she is met at the airport not by Viv, but by her handsome business manager, Harrison Wentworth II. Viv has some whims of her own, seems to be missing. No one is concerned about the unpredictable Viv until one of her posh clients is found dead, wearing the cloche hat Viv made for her and nothing else. Check that out. Shards of Murder, Cheryl Holland. As the new proprietor of Webb's Glass Shop, Savannah has been appointed to fill her late father's shoes as a judge for the Spinnaker Arts Festival held in downtown St. Petersburg, Florida. When her innovative glassworks, the clear winner is Megan Loyal, a student of Savannah's former mentor. But when Megan doesn't show up to accept her $25,000 reward, rumors start flying, and when Savannah discovers the woman's dead body on the festival grounds, the police immediately suspect her of murder. So she's got to clear her name. Handbags and Homicide, Dorothy Howell. Haley Rudolph is always ready to go at any lengths to get the latest Louis Vuitton. Unfortunately for Haley, her life goes from glam to grim when her passion for fashion outlets, her credit cards, and she's forced to work at Holt's, a mid-market department store. Looking for a bit of shopping inspiration, Haley sneaks into Stockholm to get a first glimpse of Holt's one-of-a-kind selection of handbag styles. But instead of the newest Vuitton, Haley discovers her boss in the ultimate fashion victim. According to the security capes, Haley was the only person in the Stockholm before, during, and after the murder. With everyone in the store eyeing her like last season's Marc Jacobs, Haley turns to hunky Ty Cameron, who leads up the store's loss prevention, to help her investigate the murder. Killer in Crinolines, a consignment hack. Reagan Summerside should be devoting all of her energy to consignment shop The Chrissy Fox. But when her dear friend Chantilly Parker is arrested for murder, Reagan vows to clear her name. The victim is Simon Ambrose, who's found lying in his own wedding cake with a knife in his back. Chantilly, her mother, Simon broke her heart to marry wealthy Juanita Waverly, and an opportunity crashing the wedding in her UPS truck, and she has cake on her face, and the stolen bridesmaid's dress the killer wore is in her truck. But Chantilly would never wear crinoline to kill a man. So they've got to solve the murder. Shot Through Velvet, Ellen Byram. With newspapers folding across the country, fashion reporter Lacey Smithsonian latest story hits a little too close to home. Touring failing Virginia Velvet Factory on its final day of operations, Lacey finds that more fading fabrics. She finds a body. Workers nicknamed the hated manager the Blue Devil, and now he's blue indeed. Rumors spread the killer is the Velvet Avenger. His calling card, a length of blue velvet. But when a ribbon appears at Lacey's paper, it could be more than her job at stake. It could be her life. And I love Moose Tukalak. If you have not seen my videos on Moose Tukalak, check out my videos on Moose Tukalak. Ho Ho Homicide. Caitlin Dunnett. Business is booming at the Scottish Emporium in Moose Tukalak, Maine. And Liz Ruskin couldn't be happier or busier. When a series of accidents interrupt their idyllic vacation, Liz and Dan start raising questions about the farm's dark history. Why did the owner vanish in thin hair? Who was the man whose body was found netted in a shipment of Scotch pine? And why are they trees planted to form a maze more twisted than the Celtic knot? D. Louise book series, Ho Ho Homicide, Caitlin Dunnett. Check out my review. And I think. And our last retail, Little Shop of Homicide. Deborah Sinclair was never happier than the day she quit her city job and bought the old-fashioned 5 and dime in a small Missouri town. But her happiness is short-lived when murder turns her charming store into a little shop of horrors. When Joel Ayers, the fiancé of Dev's ex-boyfriend, is found handcuffed to a hotel bed and murdered with a champagne bottle and stiletto, a revenge-crazed cop is determined to put Dev behind bars. The cuffs and the champagne were part of a gift basket Dev had made, and they have her fingerprints all over them. Now the finger of suspicion is pointed directly at Deb. Desperate to clear her name, Dev enlists the help of her two longtime pals, Poppy and Boom. Luckily, the sexy guy in town, Jake Delvico, decides to assist. And if it's big plus that he happens to be a deputy U.S. Marshal to help solve the murder. So those were my few cozy mystery retail non-foods. If then 90 something, I'll have to look it up. I should look. So let's say 94. If then 94, probably, if I don't screw this up. Have a good one.